So that bottle will last me 5.2 hours. 45 kg bottle lasts me 5.2 hours. So what's that equate to? Approximately 16 litres an hour will facilitate the correct operation of this particular machine. So as you can see, the gas consumption is not significant. It's relatively low in relation to what the requirement is of this machine. So if I didn't need to use gas and I wanted to facilitate the supply from electricity only, the machine requires it to be initiated with the power on and just utilise the electric switch and push the start button. Relatively simple. So when you start this machine, what it does, it goes through a startup system. So it starts the rotational motors running until the desiccant wheel gets to a stage where it can accommodate the moisture within the air. Then you'll hear another series of motors click in, and when they click in, that means that the whole unit is functional. You've got air being drawn from the atmosphere, run through the machine, processed and exhausted on the other side. So I'll show you how to appropriate the ducting in relation to what your requirement is, so I can recirculate the air within the encapsulation that I've designed or erected. And also too, if I don't wish to maintain that encapsulated, I can have drawn from atmosphere and totally fill the unit or the encapsulation with ambient air from outside, but still process through this particular machine. So you can see that it's got the adaptability to do what I want it to do. Primarily though, we're looking to harness the air within the encapsulation that we have and process that and maintain and keep that. So having said that, if we have an encapsulation, what are considerations that I need to have prior to building an encapsulation? One of the common oversights, of course, is the substrate on which we build our encapsulation. For example, concrete, bitumen and so forth. You've got to remember that this is drawing the air from the encapsulated area that I'm trying to control. So if it's drawing the air from that particular environment, and because it's harnessed, it'll also want to draw what's within the substrate itself. So say for example, concrete, bitumen, so forth. All of these type of surfaces will hold moisture. So if I build an encapsulation, it's great. I've built the ceiling, the walls, but then I have to take into consideration, what am I on? Concrete, bitumen, so forth. So it's important to remember too that I still need to seal those as well. So not only do I need to put the cladding on the roof, walls, I need to also make provisions to put that on the floor as well. So what I've done now is I've made a little box that's all sealed up, and it's important where I join or overlap the cladding that it does overlap, that it is a good seam, it is a good seal, because it's important to remember that what you're drawing within that environment, it'll try to work from the out, any gaps, it'll try to pull that into the environment as well. It's just like when you're trying to warm a room. Say for example, it's the winter time. You know, if you shut all the doors and you've got the heater going, the room becomes nice and warm. Suits me fine. But you know yourself, if somebody leaves the room and leaves the door open, how quickly the environment tries to compensate back to its natural status, which in essence, it's cold outside, you've warmed the room. So if you leave the door open, the room becomes cold relatively quickly. This is the same concept. So it's important to make sure that it's sealed, and you give this the ultimate opportunity to be able to process that air in which you're trying to control. So remember that we're trying to ensure we maintain a blast. So if I spend all the time blasting that steel, all I have to do is ensure that the encapsulation is sealed, well built, and this will do its job to its optimum capacity. They're a great tool, and they have fundamentally changed our industry by being able to control the environment. What a plus. I can blast 2, 3, 4 days, a week, a month, and still maintain the blast. So if you can keep the moisture from your substrate and maintain productivity, this I could not recommend high enough, because it's such a great tool. It's not expensive to run, relatively simple to operate, and easy to maintain.